Hello everyone, another video is about to hit ya. Another casual day in the trenches where the challenges are actually few and far between. Thank God. There isn't any barbed wire or scary thunderstorms looming over us this time. This was actually another commission for Daybreak Escape. It's supposed to go on t-shirts for the band, and I think this is very much on par with the quality that I brought with the Kitsune commission last time, which is, I think, one of the first videos that I posted on this channel, so you can go check that out if you wanna. Wink wink nudge nudge. And for my lovely subscriber Dance Poop, you're the worst for making me say it out loud like this. Here's the OC lore that you were asking for. Thank you so much for responding in the community tab. It was really sweet when I saw the little comments in there. So I'll apply what it is that you're asking for as best I can. This one is on the longer end, about 20 minutes or so. So grab that sketchbook, the tablet, or whatever you got, and let's crawl through some trenches, everyone. So this is kid number 2 of 5 protagonists for this band's lore, because remember I said that the band, all of the commissions that I'm doing for them all have to do with the lore that they want to portray. As you know, they grow bigger and bigger, they think it would be a cool idea for fans to kind of come back to them, like come back to the merch t-shirts, the album covers, etc., and connect the dots somewhat somehow. And obviously there would be stuff that we'd post later, but it's a really cool idea and I like that. So the bassist and I have been coming up with more in-depth ideas, and we really want to immerse the merch with the storytelling that people can look for, like Easter eggs in. We have names for all of the kiddos and the respective yokai as well, which is really exciting. The Kitsune and the Goth painting I made features Isabel Halliday, which is her name, and Scourge, so cool, which is the Kitsune Shunobon's name. The bassist and I really thought that Scourge was the most metal name he could have, so we're actually very proud of both of their names. Isabella's my favorite character out of the 5 that I've drawn, simply just because she's got like a Billy Mandy kind of vibe, like she's very sadistic and deadpan. She kind of takes everything really seriously. She's a fencer, and so she takes things really seriously, kind of like Bakugo, if anyone's watched My Hero. Very much like, you will die, I will kill you, in terms of like sparring with colleagues and stuff, like that kind of energy is what she's got. And then this painting here is featuring Holly Sinclair and the Tanuki Yuki. We picked these names to try and fit the overall vibe of her design, Holly's design, and when I made them, they already had a soft personality. She's very carefree, she's a farm girl who loves to garden and is unnaturally strong for her age and size, which will come into play later in the lore. We chose Yuki for the Tanuki's name because we thought it would be funny if Holly can't pronounce his name, calling him Tenuki instead. We thought that was kind of silly because she's like country hick a little bit. I don't know if she's gonna have an accent or not. I don't really imagine her with one, but she's not really familiar with Japanese folklore at all, and she hasn't spoke Japanese a day in her life. So whenever he says Tanuki is his name, what it wants her to call it, she's just like Tanuki, 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 and he's like, no. And so I thought that was really cute. So the Tanuki hates this and feels it's being disrespected in some way, so he urges her to like learn it correctly, so he's always trying to get her to say it right. However, Holly's just kind of the person to does whatever her heart feels right, whatever it is. So she obliges the Tanuki, of course, but then names it Yuki for short, thinking that it's a great compromise because there's no way that she's gonna learn Japanese just to say it right. It's kind of like her thought process. And so this is a thing that they bicker about often, which I think is really cute and offers like a lot of depth to their relationship as well as their personalities, hers and Yuki's. We chose the Tanuki to accompany Holly based on her carefree nature, since even though Tanuki can go either way on the good versus evil scale, the positive traits of a Tanuki are very carefree, lazy, laid back, a little earthy, kind of dirty, drawn to rustic things. That's kind of the vibe, which is perfect for Holly, I think. That's the sort of vibe we wanted those two to share together as well, and I think we made a great choice seeing how this illustration came out. Now I know what you're thinking. Teresa, Tanuki aren't shaped like umbrellas. And to that I say, my good subscriber, you are half correct. For those who don't know, Tanuki are Japanese creatures of folklore containing magic that allows them to shapeshift to their heart's desire. There is also another yokai we wanted to merge with the Tanuki to add even more variation in terms of design, and we went with the Karakasa Kozo, I think is how you say it, which is just a one-legged human leg umbrella that hops around and has one eyeball and tongue that it uses to like scare people with. He literally just like messes with people. He's like hopping around. He literally is useless. He does nothing, but he looks really funny. And so because it's a really goofy looking yokai, we went through with this and thought that it added charm and silliness to the relationship that the gardener and the Tanuki have, but also just kind of like a peek into his personality too, or I guess it doesn't have a gender, its personality as well. Like, it thinks that things are funny, like it takes things like not very seriously at all, so it wants to interact with the outside world, and is choosing to do it in its own way. And he's like, I want to look like a Karakasa Kozo, so that's what I'm gonna do. He's all fuzzy and fluffy. He's got ears and his cute little like abstract like Tanuki eye face kind of idea. I wanted it to be a paper umbrella, just like the Karakasa Kozo. So I wanted kind of like his features to look paper mache almost. And I think it sort of kind of comes out that way. It's a little furry, a little fuzzy, but it's not that furry fuzzy. And its leg is like, it's supposed to be like a human leg, but it's a wooden human leg. So there's a lot of fusion going on. It's silly. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I think that's why I like it. It's whimsical, and the bassist and I both agree. It's cute too because the bassist and I, like, sometimes I'll get stuck with character concept design and I'm like, oh man, I just need help like with ideas. So he and I will sit down, I'll have my screen shared over Discord, and we actually came up with the design for the Tanuki on the fly then together. And I really like that creative process. So for the next designs to come, you'll probably see it's a like very much 50-50 give and take relationship that he and I have in terms of coming up with the lore together. So this whole commission in general is new and different and really fun. And I'm doing this for free because I think it's so cool. So it's just been a really good experience overall. First off, before I kick off this next segment, sorry for the video switching from CSB time-lapse to screen recorder and back again. I keep forgetting to turn my screen recorder on my tablet all the time, and I ruin it for everybody, so my bad. But now, talking about the initial process, a fun fact to note is that this is the third iteration of this t-shirt design. I was struggling, and I've been struggling for months, let me tell you. The first one was getting too complicated for my skill level, and I scared myself away from it. It's not actually that bad, so maybe I'll revisit it at another time. The second iteration was better, and where the flower idea came from. However, I couldn't get the pose or the head to look right for Holly, so I scrapped that too in the end, which leaves me with this idea you see now. I wanted to paint as much as I could for this so that the little outskirts of the forest that they're in appears lush and alive. A ways into the illustration is when I get the bright idea to add some light going through the tree leaves, which I feel is the highlight of the whole thing. I cycle between using lots of brushes, from the Real G pen to the round brush, to the oil painting brush, to the Milli pen. Those carried me all the way to the end, so I'm glad that I found my flow when it comes to brushes to cycle out. I'm not like testing brushes to see like what's gonna be good. I just kind of like know. Once I figured out the pose, the lines came very easily with a new brush I found called the brush pen. I liked the texture a lot when the Real G pen and the end tapers. I liked the texture a lot more than the Real G pens, and the taper on the end of the stroke is a lot more jagged than the G pens is. So overall, it's just more textured. I used the Milli pen a lot actually to put down the sketch elements for everything. I don't usually do that, and the reason why I did this time is because I wanted to commit to my ideas, since this is a big commission and I'm kind of treating it, or I'm taking it as seriously as I did for the Kitsune, Isabel, and Scourge one. I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to bog myself down and quit. The Milli pen reminds me of a regular traditional ink pen, and I draw on that sometimes when I'm trying to force myself not to overthink and be careful and decisive with my strokes. I wanted to make sure that when I put a line down, I'm sure about where I'm going so that I can avoid becoming tilted and scrap it later. It worked well this time, if I do say so myself. I put the whole illustration into a frame because I wanted the umbrella to appear more 3D and bring those two into the forefront of the illustration. As I work, you'll see that they end up becoming more of the midground, but either way, they both pop out so well from the background that I'm really proud of myself, actually. So, yay! Good for me! Some more context into Holly's background. Like I said, she lives on a farm. She comes from a big family, so like the typical farmer's family. Like, I don't know, eight plus kids per like pairing or whatever. So she's one of 8, I think, is what I decided to go with, or what we decided to go with. They all of these kids meet through a special school for gifted, intelligent children. So she takes the bus into the city for school, so she's on the outskirts. Both parents are around, and she has all of her siblings are older than her. She's the youngest. Her grandparents also live on the farm, and her parents inherited the business. And her grandparents also had many children, probably somewhere around 10 or so. And so she has a bunch of like uncles and aunts. Some remained farmers and just have different properties that are like joined or connected with the Sinclairs. And others kind of just went off and did their own thing in the city. But overall, there's a few of her aunts and uncles that have fused their farms with I guess the rest of the family, the larger farm of Sinclair. So they have crazy acreage, like land upon land upon land. Holly's parents are the ones spearheading the new generation. She fully wants to continue the farming business. She wants to have a bunch of kids one day and, you know, like settle down or whatever and just continue to work at the farm. She doesn't really want for anything else. She's a very simple girl. The Sinclairs is probably one of the bigger family farms that supply a lot of a particular resource to the city and probably nationwide, to be honest. And they kind of commandeered a certain section of the agriculture science market. They found a way to grow a certain foreign fruit that's from some exotic place outside of the nation. And this fruit is very expensive and very valuable, but it's hard to grow. But the Sinclairs, they were able to figure it out, and with their many farms and acres, they are able to, they have the money, the space, and the means to grow this very expensive commodity. There are many greenhouses where the plants are farmed that they have on their land. They may be using magic at some part of the growing process that Holly isn't allowed to know about yet. We're not really 100% sure how what we want to do with the plant, how they're actually growing it, what's special about it. But whatever it is, it's a family secret, and kiddos don't really know what it is until they're old enough to understand exactly what's going on. Usually closer to when they're about ready to fully commit in helping the farm in a big way. Since their family is large enough to make a small town, essentially, they have many acres and acres of land, and their business requires immense power resources. So they actually contact a man called Mr. Bright to make them a small power plant. Mr. Bright is one of the other children in the 5. Mr. Bright is like a code name, essentially. It's a play on Mega Man's Mr. Bright, but that is for a whole other video. Hopefully when I'm done with the commission I have for him, I'll be able to post a video for that, and then we can talk more about it. But they all connect to each other in some way, shape, or form, and so Mr. Bright is a connection to Holly and another child. His name is Omari. And that is really where we have left off in terms of her lore. So, yeah. I really like how it looks when I bring in the light on the flowers, making it really glow and have that lazy, hazy lighting on them bars. I also think that the way I painted the shrub was pretty good. I like how it ended up looking by the end of it all. I've been finally using the tone curve tool properly, probably since the Mizu painting, to be honest. So it's been a while, but I'm finally using it properly, and it really is such a lifesaver, because at first there were parts where the background blended into the foreground and so on. But instead of freaking out and choking myself out with the barbed wire in the trench like I usually would, I just used the tonal curve tool, and it was fixed. Literal tears, forever grateful. The tree and the sky in the background could be better, but I didn't want to focus on those things too much, since the whole point was to commit to my choices and stop overthinking so I can finish the damn thing. I wanted the sky to look like those really long streaks, that you see in late evening before the sun sets. And I think that I accomplished that, but I honestly feel like it could be better. I don't know. This is probably the saddest part of the drawing, the logo. It was the last thing that I kind of planned for, but I was trying to figure out how to render it as I was going. And it wasn't really working out the way that I wanted it to, or the way that I saw it in my head. And on top of that, I couldn't make the frame gold like I originally wanted for whatever reason. I could probably change it now. But I was able to make the frosted glass like vibe in the corners look the way I wanted to. So that was a win. There are still some things that the band wants me to revise for this, like really small changes. But this is what it looks like right now. So I think it ended up looking really good overall. The changes that I'm gonna make to it are pretty small, so I don't think it's really worth like showing. But if you want like a picture of it in the community tab or something, I can do that if you want. I told you there was barely a treacherous trench disaster in sight. I told you. It was a very good experience. Overall, it was lovely. Drawing from the beginning until the end, from the sketch to the planning to the inking to the painting to the trying to figure it out. It was all lovely, and I was feeling very fulfilled and happy rather than stressed and confused, which again is such a beautiful feeling. And now that I'm thinking about it, since there's enough of you here, when they're printed and ready for sale, I'll share a pic of the t-shirts in the community tab so you can see how they turn out. I think that would be cute. Tell me what you think about the illustration in the comments. What was your favorite part about the whole thing? Or what was your favorite part about the lore even? There's a lot more lore to these guys that we're still kind of fleshing out. But I honestly still think that they feel very alive. And I hope that it also comes off to you guys as the viewers that they are real people, or I guess real people and fictional monster. You know what I mean? Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for participating in the community tab in general. Make sure that you like the video if you liked it, or don't if you didn't, it's fine. And subscribe to me if you like what I do. And as always, I'll see y'all in the trenches another day. See ya.